Huh?
Welcome to Many Questions, the show where we ask each guest many questions about themselves and their mental health journey. Thank you so much for watching the first season. I had a lot of fun making it, and I learned a lot on my journey. During each episode, I'd either ask people how they manage their mental health or what makes them happy, and I got a lot of great answers. So here's a collection of them all. Thank you so much to all the guests for appearing on Many Questions, and thank you again for watching. I'll see you again for season 2. Being a doctor and you have to hear so many hard, difficult, and challenging stories. How do you manage your mental health?
My wife and I and our little daughter, we like to set aside one day a week, normally Saturdays, to kind of just go for strolls. We like to just go to green spaces. I mean, living in hustle and bustle of London, to find green spaces, when you find a good one, you really, really grab it with both hands. So yeah, we like to do that on Saturdays. I think it's super important to take time out, especially in the rat race of life. Funnily enough, you need to work to relax, the society we live in now. And so I think a ground changing moment for me was when I read the book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, by John Mark Comer. It's an amazing book, and it basically just put into perspective how, as a society, there's a lot more space that we can give to just relaxing and resting. We kind of idolize our busyness. It's almost like a competition about how little sleep people
Oh, yeah.
can have to and still function. Oh, I only got 3 hours sleep, but there are some people that are unable to sleep very well. If you have insomnia, or for example, there are some people who, for example, have worked like 3 jobs, and so that's a different. But if given the context where you can physically sleep and you're on it and you're not, it's important to, even if it's downtime, just find some time to rest or just create some space.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a strange phenomenon, I guess, that you've started to see over the last couple decades, where people really idolize the fact that I work so much, the grind never stops, 24/7 hustle, and it's so strange.
It's so easy honestly, it's so easy though, because you think about it, you think about there's family and friends.
Mm.
You can call them actually distinct. There's family, and then there's friends, and then there's career, and then there's actually looking after your personal self, like self-care, if that's, I don't know, exercise, fresh air, whatever it is. And they say that it's very hard to hit all four at the same time. There's normally one that is if you're doing really well in your career, maybe you're slacking with you talking to your family, or if you're talking to your family, spending time with your friends, maybe you're not looking after your self-care and you're looking after yourself type thing. So it's hard to balance all four. So I guess that's why some people find that the best way is to sleep less. But unfortunately, long-term consequences of that are very clear.
That's I've never really thought about that. When you I guess dedicate so much time to one area, the other area suffers, because I do have that where I concentrate a lot on like self-care. I mean, it might be a self-report, make me sound a bit selfish, but there's I guess a part of me is like always trying to like manage my own mental health, that sometimes I forget to kind of socialize with other people. So
Well, I guess they're all
yeah.
intertwined, because even that socializing aspect is
Mm,
great for mental health. Do you know what I mean?
absolutely,
So,
yeah.
and look, there are seasons. I mean, we recently had our daughter for and so she's very, very young, only a few months old. So yeah, like pretty much the whole time is family. So you're
Yeah.
talking about my wife who's taken time off work. So career for her is. So I'm not saying that they all have to be bad, but like you do have seasons
Mm,
where there's one that goes to the forefront. But I think having at the very background, realizing that there, if possible, and I do say if possible, you can find time to rest and take time out for your mental health. It's invaluable.
absolutely, 100%. Yeah, definitely. How do you manage your own mental health?
When I got my diagnosis, I didn't actually have a good experience with my with my psychiatrist. He was not very empathetic towards me. So during that time, it really put me off meeting more professionals in the field, and I just wanted to meet people who were going through similar struggles to me. So I set up, empty chairs in a room and hope people would turn up, and we had a support group. So that's kind of what I still continue doing. I facilitate the groups, but actually it helps me so much more than others might realize in the group. So yeah, regular fortnightly groups, and then I also do regular therapy, weekly therapy. I'm not shy about talking about my mental health, and I talk to myself a lot. I think that was a big part of it. Just looking at myself in the mirror and having a chat, and it might feel really weird in the beginning, but actually, why should it be weird? Just connecting with yourself, and that's the thing. It feels weird because we're not taught that as growing up, that it's okay to get to know yourself and be alone. So yeah, taking moments to just be still, focus on the bigger picture, because I think me realizing that my problems are small in comparison to all the other things that life has offered me was really important. Just remembering, gratitude was really important for me. But I think the biggest part of it was learning that I can talk back. I can talk back to these thoughts. And the more I run away from these thoughts, the more they chase me. So why am I running? Why am I trying to ignore them? And it doesn't mean I have to give in to what they're saying. It's just to be able to talk back and almost reassure myself that, you know what, it's okay, we'll be okay, and we are safe. And even accepting that dark part of me, which I don't particularly, want to accept, or I'm really scared of. It's not my whole identity, but it is still a part of me, and I have to accept it. And it deserves the same amount of compassion as every other part of me. So yeah, just treating it as a little lost girl in me has helped, to pacify it and comfort it and say, you just have to trust me and we'll be okay.
I love that. It's almost like you're standing up to a bully.
Yeah, and actually realizing that that bully has its own insecurities and it's in pain and is probably as lost as you are, and just understanding that actually I can treat this with compassion. And yeah, which is really tough to explain. I feel like you have to go through the process to really understand, but it's like yeah, that it's lost and it's in pain. That's why it's screaming at you all the time that, you're not good enough, or you're this or you're that, and there's someone following you and you're being watched, or, it's just scared and it's insecure and it needs attention. That's why it's chasing you. So finally, I just stopped running away. I was like, what do you need? What do you want from me? And then I realized that, oh, yeah, it's just scared. And yeah, it's just like a little lost child in me. So it's okay to at least comfort it and say, that, yeah, trust me, we'll be okay. So yeah, building trust in myself was really important, I think. Yeah.
So what makes you happy?
Well, reading. I have to say reading. I've been a lifelong
I figured, yeah.
reading fan. I actually originally read English literature at university. I'm such a big fan of reading. And then I later moved into psychology because I just really basically I'm really nosy and I'm really curious about other people, and psychology is an excuse to do that professionally.
Yeah.
So top tip, if you're anyone out there still thinking of what to study at uni. Yeah. So I've forgotten your question.
No, it was what makes you happy.
Oh, what makes you happy? Yeah, so reading definitely, and just being out in nature. I live in Cambridge, so we're quite close to the countryside. Being around with big vistas in the east of England, we have these big skies, and there's just something about when there's a big vista and a big sky, you feel small, but in a nice way. And I don't know, it just puts things into perspective. And of course, yeah, being around others. I think as I've got older, finding people who have shared values, I think it's just, so important.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely having a support system around you is great.
Oh, absolutely. I've moved around a lot for my jobs, and I've had some quite intense working hours when I was working in a hospital during the pandemic, really long commutes, and you get very isolated and stressful jobs. So yeah, definitely you need that. You need your support network, don't you? You need your people.
So what would you say makes you happy? I know you said about traveling. Is that one of those?
It is, yeah. I think, I've been very lucky in my life to have been able to travel a lot. I've worked in a lot of different countries, experienced a lot of different cultures, and just immersing myself in other countries, other cultures, other traditions that's what really makes me happy. What else makes me happy? I love good weather. Like I said, I'm a summer person. I love being in nature. I think nature is my favorite place to be, whether that is at the beach or, getting lost in a forest or hiking. Just being out in nature with the fresh air and the sun beating down on you. Can't think of anything better. And then, of course, I'm at my happiest when the people around me are happy, we're just having a good time.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And there's also studies to suggest that being outside in nature does help your mental health.
Definitely, I think, for me, it's just getting out and being in nature, being in that natural world and natural environment around, surrounded by all of the elements without the constraints of 21st century, technology and stress and social media, just almost going back in time and being immersed in that experience. Like a weight is lifted off your shoulders, and you're just at peace, tranquility, and on one with nature.
So how do you manage your own mental health?
So by being of service to other people, building Lego also helps me, just to help me focus and show myself who I am. Journaling has been really important for me because it allows me to recognize the good in my day. And quite often we can have very black and white views on, I've had a bad day. Yeah, there's some days that are not going to be great, but it doesn't mean the whole day is bad. There's always little pieces of good to take out of a day. And I think that's something that's really helped me to manage my mental health, because when I was at my worst, I saw everything as bad, negative. If something good came, I'm like, oh no, that's not good. I've got other bad things to worry about. So that, I think, has really helped me. Meditation has been really important for me. Self-care, just taking care of myself, doing skincare, making sure I'm eating the right foods that contribute to a good mood. Being in the gym has really helped me as well. I tore my ACL last year, so I'm actually having to do a lot of rehab. But these things have really helped me to manage my mental health, because we know exercise gets the good endorphins going. And one thing I've had to realize is mental health is not a constant. It's not a given. It's something that you have to work on. It's like the gym. You don't go to the same gym the same day and to expect to get massive muscles or to lose weight. You plant that seed and you let that grow. So that's something I've had to realize. And with the brain, it may not always feel like you're making a difference, but the brain catches up eventually. So when I first started journaling, I remember I used to think, what is this nonsense I'm doing? This ain't going to make a difference. But as time went on, I'll get to bed, get ready to journal. My brain would let it go. It'll be excited to release because it knew this was the routine. It knew this is what it enjoyed. So that's something I've really been something I've been using to help manage my mental health.
Journaling is very good, because especially if you feel like you can't talk to somebody, you could always talk to, I guess, the book, just to actually flow all those ideas and thoughts and feelings just on the page.
And you're taking things that are in your brain and putting them on paper, which is actually a form of brain dumping. You're practicing brain dumping. You're practicing letting it go. And practice makes perfect eventually down the line. So the more you can do it, is the more you can teach your brain, all right, I can let this go. So you're rebuilding your neural pathways in your brain, which is obviously neuroplasticity, the ability to create new behaviors and to deepen and strengthen those behaviors. So journaling has been probably the thing that I've really enjoyed actually the most.
Okay. Yeah, I used to do it, and then I kind of skipped a few days, and then slowly became weeks and months, and then But when I was doing it, I loved it.
Well, this is your answer to get back into it, man.
What makes you happy?
Waking up in the morning and seeing sunshine. I have a dog, and she has been absolutely amazing for my mental health, and the amounts of joy and happiness I get from her, I can't even begin to describe. I think she's definitely the center of my happiness.
I've always wanted a dog. I got a cat instead. It did run away, but it's not the same. But one day I'm gonna get a dog. What dog do you have? Like, what's the breed?
I have a cockapoo.
Oh, nice. Oh, cute dog. Okay.
I love the poodle mixes. She's athletic as a cocker spaniel, but the intelligence of a poodle, I've never had a dog that's just so bright.
Oh, that's amazing. How would you manage your own mental health?
So it's a really good question. I'm really lucky to have a supportive partner and family. So without sounding trite, actually being vulnerable and learning to share with others when I am struggling is really, for me, really powerful. And it's that genuine human connection, which me holds the difficult bits of my life. It doesn't necessarily fix how I'm feeling, but it makes it feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. For me, sport and exercise lets me kind of do both things. So team sports in particular, I really enjoy. So I kind of get the benefits of exercise itself, but it's also an opportunity to connect with people and feel competent and good at things. Although I'm not sure the people I'm playing with would say the same thing, but it gives me the illusion of having control over something, which I find really helpful. And then nature, I've find helpful. So not in any grand sense of going to jungles or what have you, but just going for a walk and connecting with something which is, I guess, real and outside of myself. So focusing what I'm doing on the wider world, just rather than what's going on inside myself. It makes me feel like I'm part of something bigger, which is stable and different, and I find that quite helpful.
It's a really good answer. I would just say like I watch movies and play video games, but that is a much better answer. It's a well-rounded one.
Movies are also great.
Yeah, not as much as what you said, but yeah. I mean, each their own. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. It's good to have a circle around you. What makes you happy?
Oh, lots of things make me happy. Chocolate makes me happy. Spending time with family and friends, being free in terms of like having days where there's no plans, no pressure. You can just go with the flow, do what you want. Also, like being in community makes me really happy. Like seeing people connect. So I like really like putting on events. Yeah, being able to see people that didn't know each other before but have like a shared interest, be able to connect and like form friendships and bonds. That brings me a lot of joy. Music as well, like anything creative arts generally, but music specifically. I get lots of joy from that.
Those are all really good things. I can agree with most of them, but one.
Which one?
Chocolate.
You don't like chocolate?
Nah, I don't like the taste of it. I know. I get this all the time. I lose people. And usually I'm building up a friendship and I say, I don't like chocolate. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done with him forever. How do you manage your own mental health?
The exercise is an absolute number one for me. Exercise and sleep top up there. I know that when I'm not getting at least 7 hours and ideally 8 hours of sleep, I'm very negative about myself. I'm very, very judgmental. I'll joke to my partner about like the bitch in my head is out. Like it's very, very different. So I kind of know I can't trust my thinking when I've not had enough sleep. I know my decision-making process is altered. So sleep is important for I guess, focusing, prioritizing, making rational decisions. And exercise is more about my energy levels and my motivation, my joy on a day-to-day. So I make sure I exercise every day. I try to meditate once or twice a day. I guess one is probably my minimum. But ideally I would be doing it 2 and more, but life gets in the way. And the other things that really help me, I have a bit of quiet time every morning. So I'm quite specific about that. I will get up before my partner gets up, before my stepdaughters get up, and I will have a coffee on the sofa in absolute silence. And I don't even know what it does for me. Sometimes I'll write, I'll make notes, sometimes I'll doodle, sometimes I will daydream. There's no system around it, but just having a moment of conscious pause before I rush into my day makes a big difference. And I see a therapist as I'm going to say a maintenance part of my life. And it's not something that's very common here in the UK. It's much more common in the US to see it as a preventative support. And I see a therapist, and that helps me just to talk through my thinking and my twists and turns of my mind. And that's definitely something that helps me.
Funny you should say about the quiet times in the mornings. I've started doing that from the last like week or so, and I find that is actually quite helpful to me, actually, because before I used to wake up and jump straight to work, whereas now if I wake up earlier and just kind of ease myself into the day, I feel like my focus is a lot better, and I feel much more focused, much more energized, actually, and my mood does go up from doing it. So I think that's something that I'd keep going with.
Yeah, there's some quite compelling research around different studies around having about 10 to 15 minutes first thing in the morning before you get onto any technology. And most of the studies show between a 10 and a 20% increase in productivity within a relatively short space of time. So within 2 to 4 weeks, seeing massive jumps in productivity because you're starting the day in proactive mode, essentially, rather than reactive mode. So it helps you to feel a bit more in control, which is fundamental to your mental health and your thinking. Such a simple change, just, it changes your mind's view of what's going on in the day and your life. So when you're busy, as you said you are at the moment, I can see that that's the case, and I'm glad you noticed that sense in yourself.
Yeah, that's the thing. You just have to keeping the eye out, trying different things. There's like no one size fits all for like treatment and stuff. You just really just have to be out there and just looking to see like what helps you, what can benefit you. Yeah, it's and it's true, like you're saying, it's a lot of this stuff. It's a simple thing, and you just don't know, like the knock-on effect could be just like great.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a really good book. I don't know if you've heard it. I think it's by Kelly McGonigal, and I think it's called The Willpower Habit. And it talks about a few things where just about a 10-minute investment in it every day, the ripple effect. So 10 minutes more sleep and how much more likely you will be to quit smoking or to do something else. So it talks about exactly as you said, that like micro action at the beginning and the ripple that might fall out of that. It's really, really fascinating. And there's quite a good TED talk online of it if you don't want to read the whole book.
Talking about mental health, how do you manage yours?
Over the years, I've had lots of therapy, which has been great. Right now I'm not having any therapy, which is also okay. I spent so long trying to find like the glamorous things to like help work with me or whatever they might have been. And actually I think I've really started to value like the 3 basics, which I always think are eating, sleeping and breathing, and taking time to do those. Like as much as it sucks, you kind of are what you eat. And I love chocolate. I eat a bar of it every single day, but I know that I'll get really hyper and then maybe feel a bit after. Sleep has been huge. I'm really, really lucky I can sleep properly. I used to really set alarms. I put so much pressure on myself to always get up at a certain time, even if I hadn't slept properly or whatever. And I really noticed that it was starting to have an impact on me. So now I'm a fan of the snooze button. And dancing is so good. Like even if you can't dance, you just put your tune in and just find a room that's yours and just go for it. There's nothing like it.
How do you manage your mental health?
So over the years, I found myself, found that what benefits my mental health is painting, is artistic ways of, self-expression. So that could be painting, that could be music, playing it or listening to it. That could be just, something even as simple as just spending some time with myself, just lying in a room with dim light. Even that could help sometimes. So yeah, I think it's smallest, tiniest, simple things like those, which actually involve a lot of self-discovery.
Yeah, creativity is I think they've done studies and saying that like art and creativity can really help benefit your mental health. So that is definitely a great avenue to use.
Exactly. I don't think there's a single day I could go without engaging with some form of art, and especially music. I don't think there's a single day I can go without listening to music. So
you need the soundtrack for life. That's what you need. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
How do you manage your mental health?
I stick to all the basics. So, all the things that you see everywhere, the exercise, try and eat a bit healthier. Don't try and go don't try and eliminate bad foods, but that kind of nice happy medium. And I think more personally to me, so I think like previous in life, I've gone from high drive. So I'm gonna take on everything. I'm gonna do everything, and then got to look out for burnout and doing nothing. So I've been very kind of, I think that's always been my thing, staying in the middle, doing a little bit and slowing it down a little, doing a little bit, slowing it down. So now I've got quite good at that, and that's how I manage my mental health, is keeping that nice even keel. Whereas I think maybe young version of me, early 20s, would have just nosedived into something and burnt out. And I think so nice mix of good healthy behaviors, doing those things that make you happy, finding out what you value, what you care about. I think there's a lot of things out there telling you what you should want. Like you should want to, I don't know, go to Spain. You should want to travel the world or something. Like if that's your values, they're great. But you've got to make sure it's what you really want. So
yeah, it's a good mix. I think, like you said, that there's a lot of things that you can see on, especially like social media, online and stuff, where they say like, at this age you're meant to do this and you're meant to do that and blah blah blah. And it's almost, if you follow all of that type of stuff, you're not living your life, you're living somebody else's life. And I guess it's just using a combination of different things that you like and that it benefits you, and then maybe just leading by example, which is great, like exactly what you're doing. Because I think about all the different things that I like to do, and merging that together does help me, manage my own mental health.
You hear a lot about kind of motivation. I haven't got the motivation. It's not there. But when you really look, if someone's in line with their values, they do have to push themselves, but there's a lot more natural motivation to go get it done. Whereas if someone's not in line with their values and they're pushing themselves because they think they should, that also can lead to burnout because there's no natural oomph. Values are really important.
Yeah, absolutely.